Here we are with another video. I wanted to introduce you to my new backpacking stove. This is an MSR Whisperlite. I bought this particular stove off of eBay. This stove retails for almost $100 on the MSR website, but I was able to get this stove for $78 plus shipping. Starting from the left, we have the windscreen. Here we have a heat reflector, the carrying pouch, the instruction booklet, the repair kit, the fuel pump, and the stove itself. Included in that price was this 22-ounce fuel bottle, and these fuel bottles are sold separately new. So to buy a new stove, you would need $100 plus an additional $20 to $25 for the fuel bottle. Here's the stove set up and ready to be started. As you can see in the bottom, there's the heat protector, and then the windscreen is fully deployed, and the fuel bottle is attached to the stove. Now, what's unique to this stove is this fuel line here. It preheats the fuel, and it allows it to burn evenly at colder temperatures. That's where this stove really shines, is in the bitter cold. After about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, your canister stoves will start to get a bit fussy with you. Okay, we've pumped up pressure in the stove, in the fuel bottle rather. So now what we have to do is we have to open up the line, and we have to let a little bit of fuel come into the priming pan here. Okay, now we turn the fuel back off. And now what you have to do is simply light the fuel in there and give it about a minute or so. And what this does is this warms up the fuel line. And then it'll be ready to turn on. Now we'll go ahead and turn on our fuel. And there we go. We have a fire. And we'll go ahead and put our windscreen on here to protect it from the fuel bottle. Okay, as you can see now, we've got a nice blue little flame. The yellow flames have died down and they've turned into the blue. And this is what we wanted to see. Okay, according to the directions, it should boil 1 quart of water in just under 4 minutes. So we're going to put that to the test. Here I have a quart of water already ready to go. And we've begun our timer. Okay folks, there you go. It's a rolling boil at just above 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and shut our stove off here. Okay, I'd like to go over the pros and cons of the MSR Whisperlite stove. Starting with the pros, it operates very well in extreme cold. The second pro is that these stoves are extremely reliable. They've been around for about 25 years now, and if you check the reviews online, you'll find that a lot of people have had these stoves since the 90s, and with regular maintenance, these stoves have stood the test of time. And the third pro is it's an extremely fast boil. As you saw earlier, I boiled 1 quart of water in about 5 minutes, and that's pretty quick. And granted, that was my first attempt at using the stove, so I think that's very good. Now with the cons. There is some assembly required. You have to assemble the parts of the stove, and you have to lubricate the fuel line when you attach it to the fuel pump. Then you have to pump up the pump to build up pressure. Then you have to add, you have to prime your priming pan and then let it burn, and so on and so forth. So it takes a few minutes before the stove is ready to use. Okay, the second con is you have very little adjustment in the flame. This stove is either wide open or it's shut off. If you wanted to simmer food or something like that, you really couldn't do it with this stove. And the third con is this is a dirty stove. Even after the first use, the stove was completely clean. Whenever I took the stove apart, I got a little bit of carbon on my fingers, and that's normal for this stove. But I'm really glad I have the stove, because I plan on operating in colder temperatures, and I need a stove that's going to perform for me in those temperatures. The alcohol stove I have will probably be fine, but in the event that I need to melt snow, then that's where this stove is really going to shine at. So I look forward to putting the stove to the test, and I hope you come along with me on those adventures. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.